G'day guys, welcome back. Too many projects, not enough time. Andrew, I know I'm flooding you with videos suddenly. We're trying to work on the 101, get her on the road, get her through the import inspection. So part of that, I don't need this for an import inspection, but I do like a comfy seat so I can drive it a little further. So we've ditched the uncomfortable cheap Land Rover seats that were in it, and we picked up some nice little sporty sports seats. Now these came out of a 93 MR2, Toyota MR2. They're quite light, they're quite sporty, very bolstered, and the excellent thing about these is the seating area, which Timmy's sitting in. I guess he'll have the passenger side, this is going to be the driver's side. Is that they are very thin in the base and very thin in the back. Just as thin, pretty much, as the Land Rover seats. So they kind of ticked all the boxes of what would fit in there. Now fitting these in there, oops, sorry, trying to figure out how to do that. Anyway, get back to it. So how do we fit them in there? While they are a fairly thin base on the bottom of them, there are a couple of brackets on there which I could work with, but I'm not going to work with. I'm going to take them off. I'm going to weld my own seat plate or base, if you were to call it, which will have the holes drilled as per the standard Land Rover holes, and then weld it onto the bottom of here. Which will even drop this down a little further again to be as low as possible to get as much headroom above that hoop, now that we're sitting a little further back underneath it, and underneath the steering wheel. Alright, so to flip it over and I'll show you how I remove the extra brackets from the MR2 brackets. It's just to start with a clean flat slate on the bottom of the runners. As you see, they really start off as a basic base, and then the MR2 front brackets, rear brackets are there. So we're going to remove these 4 brackets. They're held on by a couple of little spot welds, or sorry, 1 spot weld each per bracket and 1 rivet per bracket. So what we're going to do, we're going to drill all that out and then bump the brackets up using a, oops, that one was way off. A center punch to somewhat be centered as we drill it all out. Cue the music, speed the film up. Alright, there we have it. We're back to a flat base. Now we just need to make our own actual base for it. And I have some 3/8 by 1 1/4, as well as some 3/16, I think. 3/16 by 1 1/2, which will make up a framework. We'll be good to go. Okay guys, sorry about the noise of the fans in the background. Today's a little cooler. So I've done some fabric cobbling here. Now I'm merely giving you the gist of what I'm doing with the seats that I've got and the general idea of kind of to make a base for a seat. There are a ton of different ways and different materials and different whatevers to use. But basically what I did is on the front I welded these blocks. Mine are longer on the driver's side because the seat's further back based on where the original mounting holes were. So there's the back blocks, front blocks. What these do, these space it up, giving clearance for the runners, which is why I went with 3/8. And there it is on that side. And then I also made a flat base plate, which has the original mounting holes. Now they've got the 2 holes here because originally in this truck we had the original Land Rover sliders. So basically we're reusing those holes with this base plate. All good. But I did find out that when I measured everything out and laid it out and measured twice and thrice and 10 times to make sure everything was good, I got the base plate laid out square in the seat pan. But it looks like, as you can see by the holes here, whoever put the seat in originally basically just didn't line it up super perfect. So I'm not going to fix that. I'm merely just going to work with it on this base so I don't drill any new holes and make Swiss cheese. So that's all good. These mounting holes are a little off, but they match the ones on the floor, but this seat base is square in the hole. And then what we're going to do now is basically just rotate this up, and then this will simply weld under there, weld under there. They will slide the seat forwards, weld the back, and then we've got plenty of room in the front here to put the bolts in there, and then we'll slide the seat forwards, and then that'll give us plenty of room to put the bolts in the back there, and then we should be good to go. Now I took the bottom seat cushion out. There was 4 screws. I took the seat bottom out and I measured the width of that where it mounts. I cut a couple of bits of wood, shoved them back in, put a couple of screws in just to hold the shape and the width and everything so it's all in the right place. So when I put the cushion back in, could I make this removable? I probably could, but to be honest I'm going to stick with this, and if I do change my mind later then I can just build it all again if I put different seats in at some point way down the track. So the amount of effort, yeah, if I did put different seats in later down the track, I'll probably just hack all this off, leaving me the base, and then either make new bases using these as a template, or just hack these off and use the base as the base plate again, and weld on a new seat base in the similar fashion to what I'm doing here. Alright, so let's get that welded on. I'm going to save you the welding here, and then we'll come back once it's all welded on, and we'll do a test fit and see how it looks. Alright, let's see how good or lucky or whatever we got here. 2 bolts in the front. Slide the seat forwards, tilt it forwards. Look at that, all the bolts line up. There we go. Once she's bolted down, it should be a little more secure, but it's working. Working, guys. Okay, so proof that. So now it's time to weld everything home for good. And give it a lick of paint and bolt it in, put the seat cushion back in and bolt it in, and then do the frustration of trying to get down underneath these lips to put the nuts and bolts, nuts and washers under there to do them up. I think we're good. Alright, next step, I'm going to go weld it all up, and we'll see you once that's done and the paint's on, and we'll be ready for final installation, I guess. Alright guys, there we go. We got her in, and looks pretty good. Now I've got it set up right now in where it would have been originally with the original bulkhead. I know this because I measured before I pulled it all apart. I put these seats in hard up against the back of the bulkhead there, and then I measured from the steering column to the back of the seat, and I had 15 inches. That's where she's set right now. We're moving the bulkhead back. We've got all this extra room. Even tilting it back as far as it'll tilt back. "19 inches. So again, 4 inches, I guess. And that's way more than enough than I need to fit in here. It's with the seat in the very back position, it feels like I'm sitting in my big Dodge truck. So much leg room, just a game changer, which is why I did this. I want this truck to be able to be comfortably driven so I can use it and do some traveling and camping in it and get out there and use it instead of it having to sit in a field its life. So let me get a close-up.